Breaking news out of Washington. In a surprising legal move, President-elect Donald Trump has filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court, urging them to press pause on the impending TikTok ban. The timing here is critical, as the court is scheduled to hear arguments on January 10th about the law that Congress passed and President Biden signed earlier this year. If implemented, the law would take effect on January 19th, just one day before Trump officially assumes office. Let's unpack what this all means and the potential implications. To recap, this controversial law mandates that TikTok, owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, must be sold to an American company to avoid being banned from the U.S. The government has long expressed concerns about national security risks, arguing that TikTok's ownership could potentially allow the Chinese government to access user data. These concerns have driven bipartisan support for the legislation, which was signed into law in April of this year. With the January 19th deadline looming, ByteDance is still fighting the ban in court. And now Trump's legal team has entered the fray, not to take a side on the merits of the law, but to ask for more time. His brief asked the court to delay implementation of the ban, stating that such a pause would allow the incoming administration to explore a political resolution to the issue. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist joins us with more on this story. Aaron, this filing from President-elect Trump raises some big questions. What does it tell us about how Trump might handle the TikTok issue once he's in office? Well, Jessica, this move is a clear signal that Trump values TikTok's role in American society and perhaps more significantly in his own political strategy. He's previously stated that TikTok was a major platform during his campaign and credits it as an influential tool in his election victory. By filing this brief, Trump appears to be prioritizing TikTok's presence in the U.S., at least in the short term, while also setting the stage for a broader discussion about the app's future under his administration. His legal team's brief doesn't challenge the law directly. Instead, it asks the Supreme Court to delay the January 19th implementation date, arguing that immediate enforcement would harm millions of Americans who use the app daily. The brief also frames this issue as a matter of free speech, emphasizing the rights of TikTok's 170 million U.S. users. Trump's team suggests that a political solution could be more effective than a strict legal ban. This case has already made its way through lower courts, where the law was upheld. Judges there sided with the government, agreeing that the national security risks were legitimate and that the ban was necessary to protect U.S. interests. The Justice Department continues to back this stance, reiterating its arguments in a brief filed alongside Trump's. But Trump's filing complicates the situation. By stepping in now, even before taking office, he's signaling his intent to reshape the conversation around TikTok and potentially overturn or modify the law altogether. This is especially notable given the bipartisan support the law received in Congress. Both Democrats and Republicans have largely agreed that TikTok's ties to China represent a serious security threat, making Trump's more conciliatory approach stand out. One of the most interesting elements here is the timing. Trump won't officially take office until January 20th, which is after the ban's deadline. By requesting a delay, he's essentially asking the court to give his administration the opportunity to handle this issue on its own terms rather than inheriting a law that's already in effect. This would allow him to explore a political resolution, as his brief puts it, instead of being forced to enforce or repeal the law immediately upon taking office. Now let's talk about the potential fallout. If the Supreme Court agrees to delay the ban, it could create an extended period of uncertainty for TikTok and its users. ByteDance is already under significant pressure to sell the app to an American company, but finding a buyer under these circumstances is no small feat. The delay could give ByteDance more time to negotiate a deal, but it could also prolong the legal and political battle. For users, the stakes are also high. TikTok has become one of the most popular social media platforms in the US, with over 170 million active users. Many of those users rely on the app for creative expression, business, and communication. A ban could disrupt millions of lives, and Trump's brief appears to be taking that into account, framing the issue as not just a national security matter, but also one of free speech and individual rights. Looking ahead, this case is shaping up to be a defining moment for the intersection of tech, politics, and national security. The Supreme Court's decision will likely set the tone for how the government approaches foreign-owned tech companies in the future. It's also a test of how much influence a president-elect can wield before officially taking office. With arguments set to begin on January 10th, all eyes will be on the court to see how they respond to this unprecedented request. As for President-elect Trump, this move reflects his strategic use of legal and political tools to shape public discourse and policy. Whether the Supreme Court grants the delay or not, his administration will likely face intense scrutiny on how it handles TikToks and other foreign-owned platforms in the coming years. We'll continue to follow this story closely as it develops. Stay tuned for more updates.